What's going on, good people? What's going on? To all my folks on IG, what it do, what it do, what it do. To all my folks on TikTok, what it do, what it do, what it do. Hope y'all had a good Monday. If you're on the East Coast, I know it's a little chilly today. And, hope everybody's warm. Hope you all are being cautious, taking your time getting home if you're on your way home from work. And once you get home and get settled, jump right back in and join in with me. Okay, like the response I'm getting there. So what's going on, people? As you know, it is your boy SportsRap CEO. TikTok live at SportsRap CEO. Instagram live also at SportsRap CEO. And listen, it's Monday, and y'all know what goes down on Mondays. Usually it's my victory Monday, right? But my boys play tonight. Let's see. Let me get my guy in here. Hold it. What's going on? It's not working here. I don't know why this isn't working, Chuck. I'm trying to invite. Oh, it says invitation sent, so I'm pressing it too many times. But what's going on, IG? So, like I said, it's typically Victory Monday, but the Birds play tonight, and we're going to see what happens. I've been talking to people a lot today. A lot of people are feeling statement game, and not so much just saying comfortable it needs to be a statement game, but more so as statement game as it needs to happen. Ideally the Packers are in the number 2 spot at that 9-3-1. I believe the Eagles are still at the 8-3, 8-4, whatever. I forget the records. It's just been a mess anyway. But the Eagles can ideally bump back up to second place with a win tonight. So again, for me, I am looking for. I said to people, I didn't call it a statement game. I said it was a game where I think they are going to come out after this mini bye week and have the urgency for a change that we haven't seen in a while. And more so a split kind of urgency, some urgency towards the game because they're starting to see now what's at stake and how things could play out and how things could go. And then others are the other one is because of the talk that's been going on. And I'm thinking that they will want to eliminate that talk, eliminate that noise. Because like I said, I know they hear it. And like I told y'all before, and I told you about listening to the players and the coaches and then reading into what the reporters write or read to you or tell you on TV. I feel the same way about this thing here. Scotty, what's going on? You have to take these things like with a grain of salt. And I think that these guys hear it, although they try to be, for lack of a better phrase, politically correct in interviews and press conferences and things of that nature. I know they hear this stuff. And as much as they tell you they're not listening, they're listening to an extent. Yeah, we do need a win tonight, Charles Scotty. I just said that. Yep, definitely need a win tonight. Like what's going on here? Downtown 87. What's going on? You jump in here. Jump on in here and see what's going on with y'all peoples. Anyway, getting to that, I'm going to get into a little bit more of that later on. It is Sports Rap Podcast right here each and every Monday, 4 p.m. On the East, 1 or 2 p.m. out west, depending on how far out west you are. If you're in the mountain time, it's probably 2. And if you're all the way out west on that coast, on Cali, it will be 1 p.m. All right? So make sure you lock in. Like I said, you can join in now and listen to everything I have to say. But then make sure you follow so you can know when everything is up, and then you can see all my other content. You probably find some other stuff that you might like and enjoy as well. So I want to give you these scores, like I always do. There's a ton of women's basketball scores from yesterday. And I'm going to do this because another topic I have about the WNBA and some more women's basketball. If you don't know me, you should already know. But if you don't know, I'm going to tell you again. I have an affinity for women's basketball because I feel like, and I'm mostly talking about the pro level, and as I'm learning more and reading more in some levels of the college realm as well, these young ladies and these young women and these women are not being treated as well as I feel and a lot of other people feel they should be. And they feel that as well. This is why this ongoing thing is going on with their collective bargaining agreement, how they are still like in an impasse where they are not really feeling it right now, but they in it, So we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So here we go with these scores. And bear with me. Like I said, it's a lot of these women's basketball scores. And I'm going to give you a couple more scores like I always do. And just, sit tight, enjoy the ride, all right? Welcome everybody that's chiming in on TikTok. I see all of y'all. Philly Sports Guy, yeah, I see you there. Definitely see all the other people there. Also, my normal people I see on Instagram. I'm just coming back to it real quick, Chuck. I keep saying Chuck because I saw somebody else. Scotty, I think they win tonight. And I honestly think that, like, because of some of the things I was saying, I don't feel like it's like a pressure game. I don't feel like it's a trap game. I feel like it's a game where we actually see some urgency from the players. Like I said, I feel like by this point, they should be tired of the talk that's going on locally and nationally. I feel like deep inside, from what they did last year and from the way they started out the season, even though the offense looked a little shaky, I feel like this team can get itself together because we've seen them do it. And you can arguably say that their backs are against the wall because, like that old cliche, they control their own destiny now. You got some help from Detroit by beating Dallas. So you got to handle your business. You have one of, if not the easiest schedules in the remaining schedule for the rest of the season. I'm sorry. You got the Chargers tonight in LA, and you come back home. You got the Raiders. Then you go on the road to the Commanders. You got the Bills, and you got to close out the regular season with the Commanders. So you arguably have, for all whats and giggles, 3 wins at least. It'd be great if we can get this one tonight and make it 4. So we'll see what happens. So let me get into these scores so I can get into some other stuff. All right, but stay tuned, Scotty. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. Yesterday, NCAA basketball, women's basketball top 25. Central Michigan at 17. Kentucky holds on 82-55. New Hampshire at Louisville, number 22 ranked Louisville. Louisville takes that 94-43. Purdue at number 6 Michigan. Michigan takes that 104-56. Boston U at number 11 UNC. UNC holds on 82-40. North Central at number 3 South Carolina. Shout out to Dawn Staley. Continuously building that program and strengthening that program down there in South Carolina. They hold on 106-42. Number 18 Notre Dame beats Florida State 93-58. Number 23 Ohio State 79 Northwestern 70. Northern Illinois at number 10 Iowa State 105. Northern Illinois 52. DePaul at number 1 UConn 102. DePaul 35. I'm going to have something to say about some of these scores in just a second. Maryland Eastern Shore at number 9 Oklahoma 90. Maryland Eastern Shore 37. UTSA at number 14 Baylor. Baylor 73, UTSA 55. Number 13 Ole Miss at Kansas State. In the upset, Kansas State holds on by a close one, 61-60. Prairie View at number 2 Texas. Texas 101, Prairie View 42. Oregon at number 4 UCLA. UCLA 80, Oregon 59. Shout out to my guy JC, assistant coach for that women's team out there. And that women's team out there, UCLA. Good friend of mine, good basketball guy. If you ever need a workout, check him out at Clark J22. Make sure you're at Clark J22 is his Instagram. Make sure you check him out. If not, I'll put it in my comments and in my whatever later on. Number 7, Maryland at Minnesota, and another tight one. Maryland holds on 100-99. Number 5, LSU at New Orleans. LSU 126, New Orleans 62. Number 20, Michigan State at Wisconsin. Another upset. Wisconsin holds on 78-64. And Washington State, number 21 at 16, USC. USC holds on 59-50. So, before I get to the rest of these scores, I know y'all heard these scores. 100-56, that's the Michigan Purdue. South Carolina, North Carolina Central, 106-42. There was a time when, just because the game was slower, and the girls or the young ladies at the time weren't as talented as a lot of the young ladies now, where games would be 50-30. But I'm looking here and I'm seeing 90s and 100s, and like, it's amazing. You know, they always say games and things evolve. It's amazing how the game, women's game, has evolved. And again, it's more reason for me to have that feeling that I have, that I feel like they don't get enough credit. They don't get their just due, in my opinion. And I go back to this. I mean, these young ladies, look at the LSU score, 126-62. Right? These are young ladies that are playing their hearts out, and being very successful, scoring a lot of points though. But it's kind of fun to watch too. So if you haven't checked any of it out, check out some women's college basketball. Don't wait for the tournament to come. Check some of it out now, because there are some games and some teams that are doing it, and I just gave you proof with some of these scores that I just read off to you. Right, on the men's side, also top 25. Missouri at number 21, Kansas. Kansas holds on 81-60. UTSA at number 12, Alabama. Alabama holds on 97-55. Georgetown at number 16, UNC. My guys, my favorite college basketball team. Go Heels. Heels hold on 81-61. LSU at number 18, Texas Tech. Texas Tech 82, LSU 58. And North Florida at number 11, Gonzaga. Gonzaga 109, North Florida 58. In the NBA yesterday, Magic and the Knicks. The Knicks hold on 106-100. Celtics get by the Raptors 121-113. The Blazers fall to the Grizz 119-96. The Nuggets get by the Hornets 115-106. The Warriors beat the Bulls 123-91. The Lakers edge out the Sixers 112-108. And the Thunder get by the Jazz 131-101. Those are your scores from yesterday. I'll get to the football scores, NFL scores in just a second, and then we're going to get right into some NFL talk. So there are a couple of things that I need to mention about this NFL stuff. The NFL stuff is crazy. We see how things have shaped up right now. We see how the Eagles season has gone. And again, it is going the way it's going. But still, when you look at it throughout the rest of the schedule, into the end of the regular season, it's pretty favorable for the Eagles. Again, like I said, I think this game tonight is a game that you see something a little different. And I don't necessarily mean in the play calling and the scheme or anything like that. I think I see it more in when you look at the players, look at the body language tonight on the players. I think it's going to be different. Again, like I said in my opening, I feel like the talk, I'm not going to say noise, but the talk that's been going around for the past couple weeks, again, locally and nationally. Again, I know the guys hear it. I don't know how intently they're listening, but I know they hear it. And I feel like this unit has done some things before. We've seen it. I feel like they have confidence in each other. I think they just have to put it together. And it's one common goal. They just did it last season. Get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. I think they can get there again. Like I said, a favorable schedule running down the end. They just have to handle their own business. And because of the position they put themselves in, a little bit of help would be even better. But more than so, they have to definitely have to take care of their own business. That is definitely sure. Just sent, who's that there? That's Sean, SHAWN. I think I know who that is. I just sent him an invite. Hopefully he'll join. I don't know how that TikTok thing works. I just sent the invite and it says the invite was sent. So I'm going to hit it again one more time just to see. Bang. Invite sent, it says. So anyway, getting into week 14 NFL scores. Going back to Thursday, December the 4th. Dallas at Detroit. Again, thank you, Detroit, for this win. Detroit takes that 44-30. Right, going into yesterday's games. Seattle at Atlanta. Seattle 37, Atlanta 9. Tennessee at Cleveland. Tennessee 31, Cleveland 29. That game at the end was a mess. I don't know what is going on with the coach of the art history. Just sent an invite. I'm telling me the invite is sent. So if y'all want to pop on in. I see y'all on TikTok. Again, I'm going to hit it again. It says telling me the invite. And I'm tapping the invite and it says invite sent. So when y'all want to pop in, just let me know when you in. And I'll figure out how to get you in here. All right? I'll figure it out some kind of way. Somebody can help me. I'll figure it out. But I sent the invite. So Chicago at Green Bay. Chicago falls 28-21. They have to play Green Bay again. So again, like I said, I told you about the Eagles. Very favorable schedule, and they could get some help. All right. Chicago does have to play Green Bay one more time. All right. So we'll see what happens. All right. See what happens when they decide to jump on in here and play. See what's going on. I'm inviting some people here. Yeah, that's it there. So that there. So moving along, Washington at Minnesota. Minnesota in the shutout 31-zip. So before me stop here again for 1 second. Washington at Minnesota. All right. We all remember the RG3 Washington, formerly Washington Redskins fiasco, correct? If you don't, you can Google it and look it up. But most of us remember that fiasco, right? And how that was handled and how RG3 was handled down there, right? So, Jaden Daniels comes in the rookie year, has a great season. Looks like the newly found Washington Commanders in the turnaround, trying to rebrand the franchise, have found their franchise quarterback. Comes back, he gets injured. He's out for a little while. Comes back, plays yesterday. He gets injured, goes off, goes into the tent. Yeah, absolutely. That's just what I said, Jay. Absolutely. RG3 part 2. Goes in the tent and arguably shouldn't have been playing at all. The Skins are done. There is no playoff. They are just basically playing out the remainder of their schedule. That's all they're doing. Is playing out the remainder of their schedule, right? So what does it mean to have him out there? Why? So he gets hurt again. Falls on the same shoulder that was already hurt. Like my guy on IG just said, at J_Blake5 just said, RG3 part 2. No doubt, RG3 part 2. If you don't see it, first thing you need to do is when I end this recording today, first thing you need to do is get on Google, get on something, and go check out the RG3 and just put in there like RG3 injury handling in Washington, something like that, and it will give you the details, right? And then take a second and compare notes with everything that you're seeing and everything that you saw yesterday if you watched that game yesterday. So, for me, I don't understand. Hey, Pep, I don't understand how. Wait a minute, let me stop there. I understand how you can botch this because it was done before. The issue I have with it is if it's not your preference to have an African American quarterback with the skill set that Jaden Daniels has, then find a way to separate. It's the NFL. It's a business as well, right? You can make trades. But to risk that young man's future this early in his career is insanity. It somewhat kind of mirrors the Tua situation, the way that was handled a couple years ago in Miami. It's one of those things where you say, what in the world are these people doing? Do they have any idea what they're doing? It becomes very confusing. All right. Miami at New York, the New York Jets. Miami wins 34-10. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. New Orleans upsets Tampa Bay 24-20. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville holds on 36-19. Indianapolis, after the amazing season that it looked like Daniel Jones was having. Let's see. Let me hold that thought for a second. On IG, Jay says, why rush your franchise quarterback back and you're playing for nothing? Yeah. Listen, I just said that too. Like, why would you keep him in there? Like, you not playing. All you're doing is playing out the remainder of the schedule because it's a set schedule. You got to play the games out. So he shouldn't have been playing from the first place anyway. And then once he went down the first time, that should have been done. Should have been it. Anyway, getting back to this Jacksonville, Indianapolis game. So I was saying, an abrupt and unfortunate end to the comeback turnaround season that Daniel Jones was having in an Indy. Apparently tore his Achilles. And although this is late in the season, it's going to end his season. I hope that doesn't have the bottom fall out of their season. They have had so far, up until this point, they've had a really good season. And looking at what Daniel Jones did, I think Shane Steichen is still out there. Or is it Frank Reich? I think it's Shane Steichen that's still out there. You see how he worked, how he can work with quarterbacks. You see a different Daniel Jones than what we saw in New York. But anyway, again, unfortunately, he tore his Achilles and he'll be out for the remainder of the season. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Pittsburgh holds on 27-22. Denver beats Las Vegas 24-17. Cincy gets beat at Buffalo in the snow 39-34. The Rams beat up on the Cardinals 45-17. And last night, Sunday Night Football, Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs. Houston takes that 20-10. Shout out to DeMeco Ryans. Has that team at a different level. Most importantly, as a head coach and a defensive guy, has that defense at an extremely, playing at an extremely, extremely high level. That defense is a very, very tough defense. And the offense is looking like it's beginning to come together a little bit differently. So that's why I say a little bit coming together. And again, we know tonight, closing out week 14, Philadelphia is in LA to face off against the Chargers. So, while we're here, and before I get into the Eagles talk, I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about that Cleveland Browns game, Cleveland Browns Tennessee Titans game. Shedeur Sanders had a very, very nice game yesterday. Again, I don't know exactly. I saw the play a couple times, but I didn't really understand it. I was confused. That 2-point conversion about, then he got benched or something like that. But I don't understand what is going on in Cleveland. I've heard people earlier today say that they feel like, or they're alluding to that he is, the coach is trying to tank games to get some, to get a lottery pick, get a high pick. You have a quarterback in your stable. You got to play him. What's the point of having him if you're not playing him? And he showed you what he can do in the last 2 weeks. You made the decision to start him, and then you have a little snafu on a rookie, and then you snatch him out, and you can't handle a rookie as talented as he is in that fashion. It's going to do something to his psyche. A lot of them get through it and bounce back. I don't think Shedeur is going to be one not to bounce back. Although it may have to happen in another situation. But I don't understand what is going on in Cleveland. And it's been that way for a few years now. A reason why I was surprised when Miles, whatever his name is, the defensive guy, when he decided to stay. Myles Garrett, he decided to stay. And I'm like, dude, you really want to stay there? I understand where your heart is, but your career is really going nowhere there. Another horrible friend, they're going to fire him too. Yeah, they should fire him too. All right, so moving into this. I said it in the beginning of the show. So that, again, getting ready to say it again right now. I think the Eagles have to, and I think they will, show some urgency tonight. And again, let me explain how I mean that. When I say that, I mean look at the players' body language. I think they're going to be more into it than we have seen them into it. And I don't know if all of you watch the game like that, but I do. I yeah, hired Deion Sanders. Yeah, right. I don't think the NFL is going to allow that, bro. I feel like it's one of those games where you can arguably say it's a must win. They have to win this game. They need this game. Winning this game could put them back in the second and the number 2 seed. And some of you might say, well, how would they get the number 2 seed? It would be 9-4 and whatever. Because they beat Green Bay, and Green Bay has that tie. So that's how. All right. That is how. So it can work out. But again, I don't know how you guys watch the game online. I'm sure it's not the same as our game. Some of you might. I watch a lot more than just the actual playing of the game. I like to tune out, if I can, mute the TV and watch. But I'm watching everything. I'm watching the gameplay. I'm watching the referees. I'm watching the players. I'm watching the coaches. I'm watching the mannerism of the players on the field and off the field. Being former player, former coach, former referee, I think it is very important to me. And now a podcast host, and I have to be entrusted in the information that I deliver. I don't want to be fake. I want to be genuine in what I say to you. And again, I stand on everything that I say. So I have to be true to that. I feel like I've seen some things on and off the field, facial expressions that can be fixed. And again, I feel like with the last few interviews, post-game interviews I heard and I saw from players in the locker room, I feel like they're finally getting tired of the talk. And again, like I said, I don't know to the extent that each individual player listens to the talk, but I know all of them listen. And it's one of those things where you get to the point where I have this image, right? Where for me, it's like, it goes like this. I'm in that locker room, we coming into this game today, and one of my leaders on my team, maybe even me if I'm on the team, right? I'm just imposing myself in there like that, right? I come in and I say, listen, no panic yet. And we heard Devontae Smith say that a few days ago. There's no panic there. So I understand it and I get it. And that's what gives me the confidence and had the feeling that I feel like this game is going to be arguably a statement game. You got to go into that locker room and you basically are saying to your guys, listen, whatever happened Black Friday, whatever happened the week before that, that shit's over. We can't go back and replay it. We can't do anything else about it. You see, Jay says body language tells a lot about what's going on. Yeah, AJ Brown, not bothered that he's getting some numbers. Yeah, you can tell Bradley getting tired of. Yeah, absolutely. But you have to understand. I just lost my train of thought real quick. Anyway, what was I? Where was I? Sorry, folks, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, it's going to take some things, and like I said, I think some things. Oh, Devontae Smith said it last week. There's no panic there. Again, go in that locker room. You're telling to your guys, listen, I'm back now. Thank you. Last week, thanks, Jay. I'm in the locker room. Last couple of weeks are done. We can't go back. Can't argue anything. We can't challenge no plays. We can't do none of that. We can't nothing. It's over with. Them games are done. They're behind us, right? Can't replay them. None of that. We're looking at this LA Chargers right now, coming in nature. We banged up. They a little banged up, right? Quarterback got a banged up hand. Again, like I said last week, going into this game, if you get pressure on him, there are ways that you can affect him when that pocket starts to shrink and he's in that pocket with that. It's the non-throwing hand, yes, but still got to hold on to the ball. Probably You probably won't see a lot of under center stuff because of that hand injury, and apparently he was supposed to have surgery on it. So it's going to be a bother. It's going to be bothersome. It could become more bothersome and more in the Eagles' favor if they get pressure on it and him worrying about that getting hit in the pocket. So there are ways. But in that locker room, you say simply, starting today, starting tonight, let's go out and let's play Eagle football. We all know what Eagle football is. We know what it looks like. Haven't seen it in a little bit. It'd be nice to get back to it. And I'm not saying that they do that, they win the game, and then everything is smoothed over. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's where you start. Because now you have to restart and rebuild your momentum. Right? The ideal goal is to go back to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl again. You want to repeat as champions. Right? This is what the goal was from the beginning of the year. This is what the goal was set out to be. Like Jalen Hurts said in the beginning, that Super Bowl is over. It's like we going to win a Super Bowl. So you got to get it together. And again, like I said, now is like the perfect time. It's like the football gods have actually snuck something in on this janky schedule that the Eagles got this year. Again, Super Bowl champs, the only team in the entire NFL that did not have back-to-back home games. They need to stop the run. We can do that. We can control the game. Yes, I agree with you. We got 5 games to give out. Absolutely. Again, this might be the start of the silver lining that's in this, whatever you want to call it. Because, like I said, the Eagles have the easiest, if not the easiest, remaining schedules. Like I said, you go into this game, you get this game, and then you kickstart, and you jumpstart this momentum again so you can roll into the playoffs. Again, after this, you got the Raiders, and you got the Commanders, and the Bills, then the Commanders again. We already talked about the Commanders. They not playing for nothing. Although you can see how they might want to come in and play spoiler. Yes, okay. We saw what happened when they tried to come in and play spoiler last year. And now they don't even have that quarterback that they had last year. As things are a little different. But arguably there, 3 games you should win. And I'm not saying look ahead to those games, but I'm just saying situations, talent level, even positioning that you're in. 3 games on that schedule post tonight should be wins. Again, I think the Eagles 3-2 would be great. No, 3-2 would be good. 4-1 will be even better. It would definitely win you the division and could arguably hold you at that number 2 spot. And then again, what the Rams may do towards the end of their season, you could sneak back up to the number 1 seed. But you got to start tonight. And again, like I said, you got to come out and you have to play Eagle football. And I mean, you got to sit in the locker room. The coaches got to be part of it. It has to be a family, a tight family, the whole entire family. Yeah, Zach Ertz tore his ACL too. So the Commanders are done, right? I think the toughest game on the schedule is going to be Buffalo because we got to go there now. And I understand we playing the cold, but that Buffalo cold is a different kind of cold, like that Green Bay is a different kind of cold, right? So it can be done. Again, the Eagles just have to put their minds to it. And I'm talking about the players on the field because last week I also talked about execution and what I saw in the players in executing, right? I told y'all about that. Excuse me for 1 second. Gotta grab something here. Now, I told y'all about that, right? And I'm going to have to catch y'all back up on the TikTok. All right, I'm going to have to get back on TikTok. I got to get a charger. I don't have a cord right here, right now. So give me 1 second. Step away for 1 second, right? Then I'm going to grab the charger so I can get to y'all. Make sure that I don't lose y'all. Step away 1 second. All right. Anyway, I don't have one right now anyway. So here we go. I'm gonna just rock out like where I'm at. All right, whatever happens, happens. But I thank everybody that joined in on TikTok. Again, like I said, I don't have the charger right now for that. Anyway, the Eagles can do some things. Like I said, with a little bit of help, it would be great. But again, they control their own destiny, and I think that they can make it happen. Right? It's just a matter of, again, like I talked about last week, execution on the field for the players, and moving along and being focused on the goal at hand, refocusing on the goal at hand. All right. So with that being said, moving into some Sixers talk, right? And I was at the game Thursday night. Warriors were here. Sixers pulled that game out. They behind that, they piggyback that. They go to Milwaukee and they beat the Bucks. Although the Bucks were shorthanded, Paul George looked really good in that game. Had a couple nights off, and then they play. That was Thursday, Friday. They had Saturday off. They come back and play. Yesterday, last night, the three are on the court together. Joe, the big fella, Maxey, the new king in town, and PG. PG did not look as good as he did on Friday. I don't know what that was about. Maxey was himself, of course. So shout outs to Maxey. Definitely appreciate the young kid for taking over the keys to the bus and being the leader that he's being right now. Getting to my guy, big fella. Again, like I just told y'all how I watch games, I watch things a lot differently, a little bit more intense than other people do. Okay, Ty Robinson. Okay, I'll definitely look out for him. Getting to it, Joel Embiid, one of my favorite players. Love the guy. Love his game. I feel like a couple games I saw him on TV and then I saw him live for the first time. His heart is in the right place. And my basketball people will understand what I mean when I say this, but he has no legs. This is why you haven't seen him in the post. Again, like I said, I love him to death, but I cringed about 9 times when he settled and stayed around that hovered around that 3-point line and shot about 7, 8 bad threes. Some of them looked really bad. When he goes to dive, if he goes to dive, he stops at like the dotted line, the dotted circle. That just tells me, like I said, as a player, former player, coach, it just tells me that the legs aren't there. But again, I understand and I feel like his heart is in the right place. It's just not there. And somebody's probably thinking, somebody that I know is watching, probably thinking, but you always say you got to play to get in shape. Yes, I do. And getting him in shape in practice is not going to do it. To get his legs back, you have to give him some things in the post. There's also this thing called muscle memory. We saw how dominant he was in his MVP year. The year after that with the injuries and how he came back from the injuries and he was giving them 20 and whatever on one leg. We need to get some of that, Joe, to get that muscle memory, right? But if he keeps shooting those threes, it's not going to help us any. We have to get him at least on the block. Even if the play doesn't actually get a bucket from him, I'll live with you hitting that turnaround fadeaway jumper on the low block. I'll take the 2 instead of that 3 that you throw, like those 3s that you shot up yesterday, bro. They were bad. And again, like I told y'all before when we talked about the fan zone and fandom, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. They were bad. I said that they made me cringe a little bit. They were bad shots, and they looked bad. And I put this on the coaching staff. Yo, y'all got to get him. Listen, tell him, listen, 2-3 possessions while you out there. We got to see what your back to the basket, big fella. You know you can hit that mid range. Just work it off of your back to the basket. There are times when you see him dive like in transition, where if the lane is not wide open, he's going to catch if he can catch it, take his 2 steps, and he's kicking it. He's not, or he's going to stop and pop for that mid-range jump shot, right? That also tells me the legs aren't there. Because we know typical Joel. Joel gets a transition coming down Broad Street, as we like to say, on the break. And as a guy backpedaling, we know he's going to put that on his head, as we say. He's going to top that off, bang that on him, right? Yeah, yeah. Then he's trying to save his knees. And this is what I'm saying. If you get that muscle memory, right, Jay, this is what I'm saying. You get that back a little bit. I think that would be better for him because we already know he doesn't practice much. We know that because of the knees. We know he doesn't practice much. This is why I'm saying him getting in basketball shape is going to take a minute. But again, I feel like if you get some work into those knees as opposed to him shooting the jump shot and those horrible threes, you can get a little bit more out of him and you can work him into winning him off of that minute restriction. Paul George, his situation is confusing to me. After that Milwaukee game where I said he looked good, he spoke after the game and he said, he felt like, the coaches were giving him okay. He's got the green light, and you weren't aggressive enough for me yesterday. I'm not saying you weren't. I said you just weren't enough. I need you to get back to that Paul George where you had that confidence and you know that you are the guy. You may be the 2 right now, the number 2 guy on this team, but you have to, and again, some coaching got to be done here too. We need him to understand consistently when you're out there, when you feel like you can go, you can go. You see Maxi's doing it. And we can't overexert Maxi. We got Paul George. You're getting $50 million, dog. You got to do it a little bit more, right? I know you say you're getting comfortable. The other night you had a little stiffness. Again, I say you look good against Milwaukee, but then you didn't give us that same against the Lakers. You gave us some stuff. I just felt like you weren't as aggressive or aggressive enough for me. See, maybe this all he got left in that tank. I think so many injuries, player mental, told PG going through saying, yeah. But I think PG has some legs. Like Joel just don't have no legs pretty much at all right now. That's how I feel about that. I think Paul George can just be alerted and be more confident that when he gets it and needs to go, he can just go. I think that's part of the other thing that's holding Paul George. And I get it, the injuries. And he had little weird nagging injuries, freak injuries, I know. But I think like he just needs to be assured that when if you feeling it, then go. Because when Maxie feeling it, he get to go. I mean, hell, Quentin Grimes is getting hot, Quentin Grimes is going. So I think the coaches need to assure him of that a lot more than what they have been. And we'll see how things play out. We'll see how things go. So, it's a work in progress, and we will definitely move on and see what happens. So, and finally, I'm going to get to this, and I see my time. I'm getting to this, though. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the women's NBA and their collective bargaining agreement talks and discussions and all that jazz and everything like that. We all know, just to give you a backdrop a little bit, some key proposal points. They want a max salary over $1 million base, potentially exceeding 1.2 with revenue share. Revenue share is a big thing for them right now. All right, average salary above 500,000, minimum above 225. Like when I tell you what the minimum salary is, arguably now, you're gonna freak out. Salary cap to 5 million, from 1.5, also tied to revenue growth. Training camp set to start early as March. Right now it starts in April. Propose to eliminate league provided housing subsidies. All right, player concerns and their union stance. Housing, all right. That's a top priority for players. All right. The players feel it's overcomplicated and essential for focusing on basketball, proposing it be a covered benefit. So they want housing to be covered through the league or the team or whatever like that. They're saying it kind of overcompensates things and it overcomplicates things, I'm saying. All right, revenue sharing. The players want more than the proposed less than 15% share. Season length. Early camp means less rest and more overlap with college seasons. And then they say, what next? All right, so we're going to skip what's next, right? So they have an extension now. They extended the talks till January the 9th, right? So going through this stuff, man, again, I feel like these ladies are not getting their just due. I just told y'all about that salary cap. Right now, okay, remember I told you under the current CBA, salary cap is $1.5 million per season per team. You heard that salary cap, $1.5 million. They want to go up to $5 million, right? And additionally to that $1.5 million per season per team, the minimum salary is around $66,000, with the max right now being just north of 249,000. So let's say 250,000 for all that they do. Again, the revenue sharing has become a big issue. Right now, they receive less than 15%. They proposed a 50-50, but of course, the WNBA is not going to go for that 50-50. So they're in a tight spot. One of the players, and I'm going to quote with this quote here, and this is Kelsey Plum. She says, and I quote, "We've been very adamant from the jump, very specific about what we are going for, and that's the revenue share." End quote. Open up the quote again. "Meaningful revenue from all aspects of the business. That's not just the league, that's the team revenue too. There's a level of frustration because we started with this and we can't move forward until we get that and get to a level where we feel comfortable." End quote. So they're real heavy on the revenue sharing, right? And again, I don't blame them for being heavy on the revenue sharing because I think they should get shit. Every other league has players getting shares of revenues. Right now, it's a league at less than 15%, which is sad. The housing thing. Now, I even read one of those articles. They do sometimes let family members, like if the player has children, they let them use a 2-bedroom apartment. But they feel like they should have, if they're going to give you housing, make it something decent, make it something worthwhile. So it's going to be an ongoing struggle. Like I said, they suspended talks and they've extended talks until January the 9th. And I'll keep my ear to the street and see what happens with the story. Finally, some changes and some things going on in women's college basketball, right? So some things, some areas of change and of difference, all right? The pace of play and boundaries. All of these changes are going to take place or have taken place so far since the start of the season. All right, starting this season, the shot clock will be set to 20 seconds when the play resumes from the front court. Throw in after a dead ball, a change aimed at increasing possessions because teams don't need time to advance from the backcourt, right? There's no 8-second call, whatever, in the league. Bench personnel who physically assist a player with the ball, for example, bracing or pushing them to keep them in bounds, will now be penalized, closing a loophole on out-of-bounds interference. Getting a little stricter in some of these aspects, huh? Well, maybe it was needed. All right. Coaching appeals. Coaches can appeal 4 specific rulings. 1, out of bounds. 2, backcourt violations. 3, whether a team control change before a foul if it would affect free throws. And 4, whether the wrong player was charged. Appeals can be made during the proper window and are unlimited, but an unsuccessful appeal costs a timeout. If a team has none left, it becomes an excessive timeout technical, 2 free throws plus the ball. Right? The rationale is to speed up the games, especially by reducing ref-initiated late out-of-bounds reviews. This was tested at the 2025 Women's at WBIT. And exhibition games only 2025-26. By mutual agreement, coaches may also appeal a foul on their own team under the same timeout technical framework. Contact, traveling, and suspensions. All right. A jump step back is now legal when both feet land at approximately the same time. Why did they have to throw that word in there? Approximately. Another small loophole, right? It no longer has to be perfectly simultaneous, improving accuracy on bang-bang travels. Defenders may make more than one brief hot stove touch on a dribbler as long as it doesn't impede rhythm, speed, balance, quickness, or route. Incidental multiple touches that don't hinder play are no longer automatic fouls. Administrative technicals for too many players on the court and excessive timeouts move the team technical foul category to reflect team responsibility. If someone fails to serve a required suspension for fighting or physical abuse of an official, that individual and the head coach are each suspended 1 game. Wow, it's like charging the parents there. Throw the coach in there too, huh? All right then. Let's see. And finally, uniforms and equipment. All right. Jerseys no longer must be tucked into shorts, addressing modern jersey length and constant retucking. Below the waist items, tights, knee, leg sleeves must be the same legal color for easier, less intrusive enforcement. Headbands may now be up to 4 inches wide, previously capped at 2, continuing a gradual relaxation of uniform rules. So, those are some rule changes going on in the WNBA. That's it. So, with that being said, again, thanks to everybody, my family, Pep, love you, chiming in, showing me all that love on TikTok. Everybody else that chimed in everywhere, my regulars, Jay Blake, Scotty, Coach Lowell Rich on Instagram. I love y'all too. Definitely appreciate the support. Make sure you lock in TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at SportsRap CEO. Right? Make sure you get over to that YouTube channel, SportsRap TV. This video will go up. If you missed some of it, you just getting in late, you missed some of the beginning, it'll go up maybe later tonight, tomorrow, and the next 2 days, Wednesday at the latest. But anyway, you know where to find me, right? Make sure you locked in. Also, you can get replays of me and live music on heat100radio.airtime.pro. Again, heat100radio.airtime.pro. Again, you can check out mixes there, a lot of stuff there. If you are a DJ, you are an artist, you can hit my DM. All right, DJs, hit my DM with clean mixes. I'll give you all the info if you want to have your music played on the radio station. Also, artists, if you have songs, clean versions, people, MP3 format, get in my DM. We can talk more about that in detail. Again, like I said, at SportsRap CEO, you know where I'm at. Talk to y'all on Monday, a week from today. All right, Eagles, Chargers tonight. Closing out week 14. Oh, before I go, I got to give y'all my picks. Give y'all my picks and some games for tonight before I do that. NHL games tonight. You got the Lightning and the Maple Leafs, the Sabres and the Flames, the Kings and the Mammoth, Red Wings, Canucks, and Wild and Kraken. Women's basketball, NCAA, top 25, number 25, West Virginia at home against Texas Southern. In the NBA, the Kings and the Pacers, the Suns and the T-Wolves, Spurs and the Pelicans. All right, real quick. Finally, moving in, going into week 15, coming up Thursday. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. I'm going to take the Bucks at home in a bounce back game. Take Chicago over Cleveland. I'm going to take Baltimore over Cincy. Take the Chargers over the Chiefs. Take the Bills over the Patriots. Here, I'm going to jump here. It doesn't really matter to me, but I'm going to take the Giants over the Commanders. I'm going to take the Eagles at home. Jags over the Jets. Texans over the Cardinals. Broncos over the Packers. Rams over Lions. Panthers over Saints. Niners over Titans. Seahawks over Colts. And I'm going to take Minnie over Dallas. And then next Monday, Pittsburgh over Miami. So that wraps up this evening's episode, folks. Again, make sure you know where to follow me. Make sure you get locked in. When you hit that YouTube, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up on the videos that you like, and then hit the bell so you know when new content is alerted. Monday evening, everybody get home safe. Be great on purpose. I'll talk to y'all all week on social media. Right back live Monday. Peace.